What is up? Hey, we're working. What is up, guys? I'm so excited to see you here. My name is Chef Keith Sarasin, and I have this cool little channel. So, first and foremost, I want to make sure that you guys get comfortable, have fun, give me some love in the chat, and just say hi. This is going to be super informal, and the big goal here is to talk about what we're doing on this channel, to talk about some of the fun stuff coming up. Can you guys hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. It's so good to be here. I'm so excited to talk to you guys about all this fun stuff. So I guess first and foremost, like I said, my name is Chef Keith Sarasin. I run this channel where for the last 10 years, I have been absolutely in love with discovering food from the Indian subcontinent. Hey, what is up? It's so good to see you. So a little bit about me. I started about 10 years ago. I was always trained in a fine dining kind of atmosphere. Fine dining for me has always been something that I've gravitated toward. The plating techniques, a lot of that Western sort of European plating style, we call it New American. That was something that I gravitated toward and really loved. And when I found Indian food, it was like a part of me awoke, a part of me that I never really imagined. For me, Indian food has become not just something that I cook, it's something that I live. Like from studying Hindi, studying a lot of the languages in the South, and trying, man, Tamil is really, really, really difficult of a language. But, meeting great mentors like Kurush Dalal, Ragini Kashyap, Vikram Doctor, there's just amazing people that I've been able to meet during this journey. So the purpose for today is to get to know you guys, take a minute, share this with your friends, and throw a bunch of questions in that chat. For me, it's right over there. So throw a bunch of questions in that chat right there, and I would love to take every single one of your questions. This is so cool. This is a blast. Talk about my setup, talk about where this channel is going, because I got some really great ideas, but I want your feedback. I'm pretty new to this whole YouTube thing, right? And I think you guys can probably see that. And I'm still kind of figuring it out. And so I don't want to be another person who just goes out there and cooks a bunch of food and says, look at this, I'm cooking Indian food. For me, this is about honoring the culture. This is about honoring the process. If you think about things like that are so iconic, like we talked about achars, we talked about dal, like we talked about all of these things that are so iconic. I don't want to be just another flash in the pan chef cooking this. I want to give it some honor. I want to teach the West that this food is the best food on the planet, bar none. So let's talk. Let's take some of these comments here. What's my ethnic background? So I'm French. So a lot of my family was very, very French, and I have a little bit of Polish in me. I definitely had that fine dining French background where you're learning the mother sauces, you're learning all these phrases. For me, I never really connected with French food. I connected with the plating techniques of what we call New American or contemporary cuisine, but I never really wanted to pursue French food. I felt like French food has been dominated in the fine dining industry for a long time. And personally, the way that I feel about it is there are so many other cuisines that need that recognition at this point. So let me say it this way. The next video I have coming out Monday, if you guys are listening, this Monday, I have a video where I rant about why Indian food has not made it to the fine dining level amongst people in the world. And it's a video to me that, much like my origin video and my journey video, I really wanted to take some time and to pause at and it was emotional talking about it, to be very honest. The food that is produced in the Indian subcontinent takes so much skill, and it hurts so deeply that it isn't recognized at a whole different level. And so that video that drops Monday talks exactly about that. Love from Kerala. Thank you, my friend George. It's so wonderful to see you. Which state of America? So I'm in a state called New Hampshire, which is part of New England. It's super cool. It's a very small state. We have like a population of 1 million people, which is not a lot. But I'm pretty close to the Boston area, and I've done a lot of work in the Boston area. Manish, thank you so much, my friend. That's amazing. I don't even know what these things are yet, and that's cool. So thank you. So let's see. Hey, Keith. Hey, Chef. Hey, what's up? Bravo. It's good to see you. Nobody. What's up? Indians are not very particular when it comes to measure. Yes. Pritam, you're completely right. A lot of the stuff that I learned is, you'll talk to these amazing aunties or these chefs or these people who know so much about the cuisine. And what do you guys realize right off the bat, right? You're like, how much do you put in? And in the West, we're very particular, right? We're like, there's 1 tablespoon of this, 1 teaspoon of this. And a lot of it's measurements like these, right? Enough. And you're like, what is enough? What you learn in these beautiful little sayings is you learn that you cook from your soul. And what that means and how that translates in my world is you stop worrying about the measurements and you start going based on how things feel. It's easy to put too much haldi in a dish, right? Too much turmeric. So you learn very quickly that it's about balance. You learn when turmeric goes in a dish. You don't just throw it in at the end. It makes no sense. Turmeric needs to bind to something called pepperine to create that effect that you guys definitely want from an Ayurvedic perspective. It needs to bind to pepperine. It needs to bind to a fat, a lipid, to create that curcumin, which lowers inflammation. So these are things that the people from the subcontinent knew already. They knew this stuff, and they would incorporate this into the food, which makes it such a beautiful thing for the culture. I'm so over the moon excited about delving into the Ayurvedic properties as well. I could rant about this forever, so I appreciate it, guys. Did I eat a lot of Indian food before I started cooking it? Sort of. So my mentor had a very small spice shop in New Hampshire, where I'm from, and she would make lunch once a day, and it came in a styrofoam container. It was always vegetarian. She was Gujarati, but she would make bindi. She would make a lot of Masoor Dal, things of that nature. And I would try it then, and I would be like, how is this so good? It felt like magic, if I'm being very honest, right? The other day I met her because we go to the same grocery store, and she texted me. She's like, "Oh, are you going to the grocery store today?" I was like, "Yes, Indra." And she's like, "I have something for you." And she gave me this little container of undiu that she made. And undiu is this thing that is part of my soul at this point. I'm sure if you guys don't know, it's a Gujarati dish. Undiu actually translates to earthen pot because it was made in these clay vessels that were then turned upside down and buried in the ground and heated. And it has a lot of winter vegetables in it, so it's made specifically in the winter. So yeah, it's, I still see her a lot, and it's things like that I want to explore. Dishes like undiu, village dishes that need a lot more representation, I think, in the West. And we can get in, if you guys are interested, we can talk about the comparison of the West and their version of Indian food in comparison. But there's so many questions. Keep them coming. I love you guys. You guys are wonderful. Congratulations on 5,000. I can't even begin to tell you, I never genuinely expected this. I expected 100 people to watch that first video. And I'm sitting here talking to you guys. I have no idea where this channel is going to go from a subscriber standpoint. All I know is I'm really going to be authentic and true. And you're going to see me, just no cover up, just me and my passion and my love for this. So I hope we get to take that ride together. From Odisha, from West Bengal. So many beautiful places in the country. Thank you. Have you ever tried Indian food in an Indian home in the US? Yes, my good friend Tarun Bangalore is an incredible human being. It's one of my good friends. His family He comes from a family of Carnatic musicians, and so I go to their house all the time to work on dishes together. His mother is a very incredible Carnatic music teacher, and so for me, being able to kind of associate and like understand more about Carnatic music, which I have a deep love. Tarun is an incredible mridangam player, and to be able to be exposed to that has been amazing. So she cooks a lot of South Indian dishes that I get to try, and I'm just obsessed with. Love your videos. Rashmi, thank you so much. Yeah, I hope that it came out well for you. If I know that you guys want a ton of recipes, and I promise you I will get there. First and foremost, I want to talk about the history, which is why you've seen so much of that. And then I want to talk about a little bit of the journey. And of course, we're going to do recipes together, of course. And I'm going to learn from you. I don't know it all, like not even close. And I don't claim to. So I hope that we can take this journey together and really uncover a lot of lost recipes as well, which I'll get into. Sindhi cuisine is, oh man, Pavan ji, thank you. It is so good. Correct, not specific measurements, flavoring. Yeah, man, these I love you guys. These comments are great. Thank you for the congrats. Thank you for the 5K. The chili paneer dish that I cooked with David when David was up looks so divine. Will you serve it on the menu of your new Indian restaurant? So maybe. So I'm working on a couple of different concepts, and I want to be very transparent about what I'm doing when it comes to opening an Indian restaurant. And I say that in quotes for this. First and foremost, I'm not there. I run an Indian pop-up restaurant right now, and that's Atma. You can see the hat there. You can see my picture of the thali there, some press that we got, like all that stuff. Atma to me is a very, very important project. It's the most important thing I've ever done in my career. I've been lucky to open restaurants that were very successful in my area that weren't Indian. When I open Atma someday, Atma needs to be correct. And to be very honest with you guys, I need to learn more. I don't want to cheapen the experience. Atma is a very powerful word, right? It's the Sanskrit word, really. It's more than just Hindi. It's more than just it's bigger than the word soul, as it would translate into in the West. So to have a restaurant called that, I take it serious. And so until I get to India, until I step on Indian soil, until I spend more time with Kurush Dalal, who's one of my mentors, Ragini, until I experience the people in India, the culture in India, and until I am there, I won't open it. I won't do it, because to me, that's cheapening the experience, and I don't want to do that. I have too much love and respect for it, to be really honest. So yeah, the pop-ups will keep going as I refine the thing. Next questions. So many. This is awesome. You guys are amazing. Keep those questions coming. Let's see. We've got what's my favorite Indian food? So I have a hard time defining what is Indian food, right? I don't really know how to answer it because it depends on where you are. For the lovely people in Odisha, what is Indian to them? Is it mishti doi? For the people in Bengal, is it machar jol? For the people in Maharashtra, like, what is it there? Is it sauji? For the people in the South, is it adirasam? You know, what is Indian food? And I think that, to me, my favorite Indian food would be the one, like, Taraji ended up, I was over her house one day, and she made me just dosa. Something simple, not masala dosa, little bit of ghee on it. And I remember thinking, this tastes like a hug, right? It's the most amazing experience because it felt like, she was cooking this as an act of love. So there's a lot of flavors that are great. I love sauji. I love bal chow from Goa. I love so many dishes, undiu, because of what it means to me. But I don't know if I have a favorite. That's the beauty of food from the subcontinent. You can eat it forever and never eat the same thing. We do not taste food. Yep, absolutely. Oh, there's so many good questions. I'm going to keep going here. Sukto, a bitter melon dish from West Bengal. I've spent a good amount of time studying Bengali food so far, and I have so much more to learn. The dishes that I'm finding that are coming out of Bengal, I think, are so inspiring. I on my Instagram, you'll see a lot of like some stuff that I did in the last like 3 or 4 months, just really deep diving into food from Bengal, and I didn't even scratch the surface. Um, Love it, and so I can't wait to try that. Thank you. Many South Indian dishes. Yes, I've done Kerala parota. The breads, and it's funny because when I think of the whole South Coast, I think of rice a lot, right? You think of breads in the north, you think of rice in the south, and then coconut, of course, and curry leaf when you get to the south. And that's because of the Konkan coast and how that kind of goes down. Food, and I say this in my videos a lot, food makes sense when you think about how it traveled. And that's a lot of the origin side of it. I know some people will say, well, don't take this away. This is Indian. But I think food, when we identify us and our ethnicity with our food, a lot of times it can be a slippery slope because we say if somebody else cooks it or somebody else makes an adaptation, therefore it's hurting us. But if we're realistic, and you guys are very educated here, clearly, because we're on this channel together, you know that we don't own food. We don't. Food is this act of love in which we give to other people. Now, I certainly believe that we should be honoring the food in the history, but I think that that's something that we can touch on too. So many things. Paisam always has a place in my heart. Thank you. Oh man, there's so many great questions here. Love your research and passion for Indian food. I'm from Amritsar and Punjabi food. Again, some of the best food in the world. I really want to go to Amritsar for kulcha so bad. Also, the history of Amritsar, the dark history, but also the positive history. There's so much history. There's a lot of places I want to visit. Amritsar's up there. Barnabas or there's Barnabas, which is Varanasi, clearly. I'm going to be in Bangalore hopefully this year as well. So many cool spaces to go to, which I get excited for. What is your first Indian dish you've ever tried? That was probably a Masoor Dal from Indira. Actually, no, it was chicken vindaloo was the first dish I ever tried. It was a very Western variety of chicken vindaloo, but the first one I tried from Indira was Masoor Dal, and I loved it. Thank you for the love, growth mindset, sincerity. Thank you. We're on the internet, right? Like everything we do at this point is like recorded in history. I don't think you can have a YouTube channel and just not be authentic because let's figure it out. Like it's the internet. It's a very small community in a very large space. So I am who I am, and I'm glad that my passion shows through. And honestly, I'm so glad to be hanging out and meeting all of you. Like this would not. I don't care about the likes. I don't care about the subscribers. Sure, it's cool. What's cool is this to me, like getting to interact with you. So I hope you guys like this format because I'd love to do more of it. No, you guys are amazing. Thank you for the love and saying I'm amazing, but really it is absolutely you guys that are amazing. We're all in this together. That's the way we create that community. This is Atma of Karma. Yeah, thank you. Having the name Atma as a pop-up is intimidating. So I think like I carry that weight of it's not just me cooking Indian food. It's Kurush, it's Indra, it's Ragini, it's the people who've spent so much time helping me understand me and my soul. I'm cooking for them. I'm cooking for the complete love that they've given me. They didn't need to bring some Westerner in and like help me understand this, but they did that out of a sheer act of love. And that's what cooking is to me. It's an act of love. Vegetarian dishes, non-vegetarian, seafood and poultry in South India. South India is an amazing place because like if you looked at Kerala, right, you have the Syrian Christian community that uses beef. Makes sense when you look at a Syrian Christian community. You have a lot more vegetarianism in the north. You have different caste of Brahmins that go in through their different sects of Brahmins, and all of this has inspired food. And it's not just, you guys clearly see I stay away from certain words like caste because I think it gets sensationalized in Western media, and I'm not here to talk about that. What I do want to do is honor each one of those castes by understanding to the best of my ability the food, why they're cooking things the way they are, and honoring that. So I think that that's a really important thing that I want to learn more of. But whether it's vegetarian or non, to me, it doesn't really matter. What matters is the essence and the soul of that dish. That's what I try to seek to honor in what I'm doing. So I hope that works. We want to see your cooking videos. Yes, I promise you there's plenty of that. Plenty, like not a question. I was just up in a national park called Acadia, and we're going to be doing a cool video. I say we, I guess it's a one-man show of me. I'm going to be doing a cool video talking about this beautiful place in Maine, and I was cooking biryani there. I was eating undiu. I was making dosa and like having all these experiences. And there was a moment where I thought, in the history of this entire place, the millions and millions and millions of years it existed, way before humanity, I'm probably the only person to ever make dosa in the middle of Maine, which is like a super white place that there's not a lot of diversity for the most part in this area, in the middle of winter, mind you. So there's these really cool experiences that I can't wait to share in that video. That'll be coming out soon. I just see it as the food of Indian subcontinent. Yeah, so I don't look at it as Indian food. I don't think the food belongs to India. I think it belongs in a much greater context to the subcontinent. Right. And if you have questions on why I think that, feel free to throw it in the chat and I will certainly answer that. But to me, I look at it more as a subcontinental food than just this is this person's food. And there certainly are things that you would say are regionally specific. There's no question about that. But I think the more that we say this food is this person's, the more that we create divide. And let's be honest, food shouldn't divide us. It has in the past, throughout history, but it shouldn't divide us. It should unite us. Food is a great equalizer. You can be in front of a Golgappa or Pani Puri shop and see people of all different walks of life in front of that shop, especially in places like Mumbai, right? Not so much in Delhi, but like, so you definitely see it in that sense. So I think it's important to say that food unites us rather than divides us. That's the goal there. Favorite Maharashtrian dish? There's a lot. I will say recently, without a doubt, Sauji. Sauji is just mind-blowing to me, and I didn't really know about the dish until recently. There was a person who watches the videos here, and they basically messaged me on Instagram, and they sent me a handwritten recipe from their family about Sauji, and I was blown away. And so I had to try it, and I had to make it, and I was so in love with it that it's actually appearing on the menu for our next pop-up dinner next month. And so I get to tell that story and honor the story of Sauji. So amazing. Let's see, more questions. You have so many spices in your spice rack at home. I do. I have a very patient girlfriend. Are there any spices you want to add to your list? Yes, there are. So if you don't know, Ragini Kashyap and I do a podcast called More Than Masala, and you can find that anywhere you find podcasts. I encourage you to check it out. We go through a lot of different spices. For instance, dalchini. I didn't realize until recently in one of the episodes that we're going to be releasing that the translation is almost like wood from China is kind of the translation to it. So we really deep dive into the spices, the history, and how we got these spices. So Do check it out. Some of the spices that I want are a lot of different peppers. I recently was fortunate to get Matania chilies. Obviously, lal mas is an incredible dish, but you really need those chilies, in my opinion, to give it that next level. But you can't find them in the States, so I was lucky to get some shipped from India. Let's see what else we got. Keep those questions coming. If you want to know anything about me, my background, where the channel's going, like I said, keep them coming. Have I tried doing fusion of Indian and Western dishes? Sort of. Right now, where my heart's at is very much honoring the dish itself. I don't know every dish, and I don't know anyone who does know every dish from India because it's so diverse. So I don't really do fusion until I understand the context and the soul of a dish. An example of this is Masoor Dal. Masoor Dal is a dal that I've been cooking for a very long time. Simple tadka, where it's something that Indira taught me many, many years ago. I've made a Masoor Dal hummus that is absolutely incredible, that has all the flavor of that dal with a creamy, creamy texture that's blended. That was a fusion dish that I did that worked really well. But fusion food, to me, it sometimes can miss the mark, right? It's very much like, cool, like we can do chicken tikka masala pizza. But at the end of the day, both of those things are very different. Both of those things have a different history and a story to them. Does it taste good? Yeah. But I think at this point, food is more than taste to me. Food is about telling a story. And it doesn't mean that fusion food is wrong. You think of the East and you think of a lot of the Chinese fusion, right? Hakka noodles, you think of Gobi Manchurian, you think of all these things that clearly are fusion food. It doesn't make them wrong. It just means that my job, I feel like right now, is to help the West understand that Indian food is more than curry. And yes, I hate that word so much. But it's a word that makes sense to the West. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Would you like to do some research in East? Of course, I would like to do food research on Eastern India. So I've done some on Bengal. There's a lot more I need to do. The East, I feel, doesn't get enough representation, flat out. I feel like there's a lot of states, like Assam, you think of tea, right? But there's so much more. Like, the eastern part of India is so different, and it makes sense that it's so different. Geography-wise, it's in a different place. There's different influences from Indonesia to China to all of these things, and it's a beautiful thing, too. To have that much diversity in the country that you live in is really great. I think a lot of times in the West, I can speak for, we look at diversity as a dirty word sometimes. And that's unfortunate because diversity is what built America. Diversity is what keeps things interesting. If we were just cooking the same thing, it would be boring. Imagine if life only consisted of versions of you. It would be boring, right? We need to experience culture and people and food to create that diversity, which keeps life interesting. So yes, I would love to. If you want to make your dream biryani recipe, then what will you add as your, oh man. So great question for my personalized touch on biryani. One of the things that I do is I explore. So let's rewind. Biryani has a lot of elements that make it delicious, no doubt. One of the key elements, I believe, to a fantastic biryani is onion. I think we could probably all agree. From the fried onions to that moment. Onion makes sense. So with biryani, what I try to do is I try to reimagine onions from different stages. So from a chef perspective, you look at caramelization. There's a very famous soup that has its origins in French cuisine, and that's French onion soup. It's a slow caramelization process where the onions break down, release their sugars, and it's delicious. I make an onion jam a lot of times with biryani that I will fold in, And the onion jam has no additional sugar. It's a slow caramelization process. So yes, I have fried onions in different stages. I have coated fried onions, I have ghee fried onions, and then I have onion jam. And it adds a depth and flavor to the biryani that is really amazing. So from an authentic standpoint, probably not. But delicious standpoint, I'd put it up against that. Let's see. Do you plan on traveling through remote parts of India to learn? Yeah, great question. I would love to travel through that. I think my first trip to India this year is going to be a lot. There's a good chance we're going with a film crew to document something that we're doing called Finding India. I've never been to India, and I know a good amount about it. I know a good amount about the food, but that's the difference. If you've never stepped foot in India, then how much do you really know? I have all this head knowledge, but I don't have the heart knowledge. And so for me, stepping foot in India this year is going to be an experience. And I promise you guys, I'm going to document the whole thing. I'm going to bring camera equipment. You're going to see me scared. You're going to see me intimidated. You're going to see me learn. You're going to see me fail. But I want to give you guys the experience of what it's like for a chef who studied this for so long to step foot in India for the first time. And I hope that you guys like that. I'm definitely nervous, but I'm also really excited. I can't wait to give Kurush a big hug and to cook for him. I promised him that I would cook for him, even though he's like, don't worry, I'll cook for you. But Kurush is amazing. If you don't know Kurush Dalal, please follow him at Kurush Dalal. He's one of the amazing food researchers in the Indian subcontinent. Amazing friend of mine. What exactly is your pop-up restaurant? Is it like a regular restaurant or different? So a pop-up restaurant means we take over an existing restaurant for a night or two, and then we sell tickets, and it's that menu that night, and then that's it. And so we don't do it all the time. We have to kind of rent spaces, and I have a lot of friends who have restaurants, thankfully, that I can go into that space and do that. So it's pretty fun. It's a blast. What is coming next in your channel apart from... I love that question. Thank you, Raul. So next, we've got Monday, I was saying, a new video drops, and this is a different style of video. It's not about food history. What it's about is it's kind of that sit-down video that so many of you have seen about my journey, right? It's very much me talking to the camera, expressing something that, to be honest, makes me angry. And it's why Indian food and food from the subcontinent in general, I would say, has not hit the mainstream of fine dining in the world the way that French or Japanese cuisine has. I get pretty passionate about it. I get emotional about it. And I make some really interesting points there. I really hope that you guys watch that and share that video, because my goal here is, I say this phrase in this video, Indian food doesn't need elevation. It needs representation. It's something I say in the video that it's not scripted, it just kind of came out. And that's really how I feel so deeply. It doesn't, I'm not here to elevate Indian food. It doesn't need that. It needs people to stand up for it and say, these people are masters of spice. These people are beautiful. Their culture is vast. Their culture is absolutely gorgeous. We need to be ambassadors for this food collectively. It doesn't matter our ethnicity. What matters is that we stand up and say, no more will fine dining be put into this cuisine if it has to be French. Of course not. So I make some points why I think it's not there, and I make some pretty cool points that I think you guys are going to like. So please check that video out on Monday. It drops, so I'm really excited for that. That one is probably my favorite video so far. So I hope you like it. Other things I have coming up, I'm certainly doing some cooking videos. Don't worry. I kind of said before, once we hit 10,000 subscribers, I want to give you the recipe that Indira gave to me for Masoor Dal. I will cook it live, or I will make a video for it and write it all down. I want to start sharing more recipes, but recipes to me are kind of very subjective, right? You can adjust heat, you can adjust chatpata, you can adjust things that you need. Um, like there's a lot of great cooking channels. I started with Variva Chef on YouTube, who I think is amazing. He's awesome. Obviously, Chef Ranveer. Like, there's incredible people on this YouTube world that make great food. I wanted to be different. I'm also going to show you guys what it's like to eat Indian food in the West. I'm going to order some food from some places. I'm going to talk to you about the history. I'm going to talk to you about why things are or are not authentic. I'm going to go through the food, and some of it's delicious, right? Like, I'm not going to demonize it. I think it's great. These people work really hard, but I think it's important to show you what Western Indian food looks like as well. So hopefully that helps. You've used uniquely Indian ingredients in the West. Have you used uniquely Indian ingredients? Yeah. So I think, Karela is a good example of that. Bitter melon is something that's so uniquely Indian that is so hard to get behind. Bitter is not a taste that the Western palate will even remotely love. So how do we take something like Karela and make it something that the West would understand? And they don't have to like it. They have to understand it. And so, like, things like that I think about a lot. Why did the word curry become so famous? Prad, thank you for that question. I don't hear it in India so often. Yeah, I did a whole video on this one. And if you haven't seen the video on what the expletive is curry, you can find that on my channel. I encourage you to watch that, but let's talk about it for a minute. The thing about curry is it became a word. Like, we all need words. They're symbols. And a word isn't bad or good in its nature. A word can be used and transformed into something terrible. We all know words that hurt or bring people down. The word curry has been used to help categorize what a very anglicized Western kind of ideology of what Indian food is. No, it's completely wrong. Of course it's wrong. You wouldn't call a dosa curry. Of course not. It doesn't even make sense. Obviously, the root of that is the Tamil curry, and that word can mean dry. It doesn't have to mean wet all the time. So I think that things like that are really important. And as we kind of move forward, my goal is to try to use that word for good rather than bad. That's the hope. Curry isn't a bad word. Curry certainly means things. I use the word gravy a lot when it comes to, like, dishes. If I'm doing, let's say I'm doing a sauji or something, right? Just because we were talking about it. Sauji has a gravy to it. It doesn't have a curry to it, to me. Like, it has a gravy. It has a sauce. So, that's kind of how I think about that. Do you have an Indian restaurant? No, I don't currently. I run a pop-up. We kind of talked about this a little bit, called Atma. And it's something that I love a ton. East Indian food equals North plus South plus West Tibetan. Kind of. It does. And it's because of migration, right? And it's also because of what grows in an area. Like, the reason curry leaves are so dominant in food right along the Konkan coast is because that's what you need. You need that atmosphere to let curry leaves grow like they do. You look at Kerala and you look at, like, black pepper. It needed to grow there because that's the atmosphere in which it grew. There's a lot of things like that, especially when it comes to spices. Like Jira wasn't this thing that's prolific around the entire subcontinent. Not at all. When we think about the origins of food, we need to think about, one, preservation, and two, geography. Those are the two things. Once we understand that, we understand a little bit more about origin. Temple in Boston for vegetarian. Yes, I've been to a couple of temples in the Boston area, and it's always an incredible experience. I have so much more to learn, but thank you. Like I can't wait to. I was in a temple not too long ago, and I was watching this wonderful lady make motochoy laddu, and I'm clearly this white guy who looks like this. And I was like, oh, motochoy laddu. And she looked at me like I had 12 heads, because clearly, why would I know this? So it's fun things like that that are always great. And, you know, being able to speak a little Hindi, it was nice to be able to tell her thank you. So you mentioned in YouTube would be visiting Bangalore. Yep. Yes, I hope to eat all of that and then some. Yeah, I can't wait to show you guys the trip. Really, like, I think, you know, I spend a lot of time on YouTube because I just like it as a platform. And I never really thought I was going to have a channel, to be very honest. This is not something that I do to, like, be famous. I hate being famous. Like, it's really stupid. Honestly, I like this stuff. To me is way cooler because I learn from you guys. So for me, YouTube was a way to kind of express my love for Indian cuisine and my love for meeting people from the subcontinent and making friends. I grew up in an area where I didn't have a lot of friends from the subcontinent, and so I feel like hopefully I'm making up for this. So I genuinely want to be friends with you guys, and that's like genuine. Nervous is a good thing. Thank you. Yeah, I am nervous, and I'm, you know, I think I'm nervous because the expectation for me is so high, but weirdly, it's also so low. I'm not going there for some spiritual experience. I'm going there because I have a lot of love. I don't think I'm going to find myself in India because I think I've already found a lot of myself by sharing this. I think my trip to India is so much more about giving that back to the people, giving it to Kurush, giving it to Ragini, giving it to my friend Ishan. You know, it's about being able to go to them and say thank you. Let me take you for some food. Let's have these great experiences. Why Americans can't handle Indian food since it's not hot. Yeah, so there's obviously dishes that are clearly hot, right? We can be, and the word, when I say hot, masala dar, right? It's like that's spicy, not spice. So I think that, yes, that's part of it. There's a lot of preconceived notions why Americans don't like it. It's spicy. It looks different. It doesn't smell like something that I'm used to. Westerners tend to be closed off at times. However, I will say there's a whole new level of people who are appreciating this food and who are seeing it for what it is and who are excited to learn more. So be encouraged. Indian food is just starting to hit there. And when it does, I think you're going to see so many people fall in love, and rightfully so. So I think, you know, that's something that I hope that I can push forward. And so many people like me, you know, it's not just me. There's people way cooler than me who are doing this. Thanks. Big Show's probably like 7 feet tall. I'm not. So thanks, I think. Do you advertise Indian dishes to Westerners? Because yeah, exactly. Most people think it's hot. So what I do is I feel like I'm the best at getting people excited about things because it comes from a genuine place for me. It's not like a tout, right? Like I'm not selling anything. Like what I'm trying to do is get people to be inspired, and they do that by getting out of their comfort zone. So I think that's how I advertise Indian food, that it's not all tikka masala. It's not all murg makhani. It's not all this stuff that, you know, they don't even know what murg makhani is a lot of times, butter chicken. It's not all these things. So once you find a hook for a story, then we can say, hey, I know you like this flavor of tikka masala. Wait till you try this other dish. Wait till you try this dish. Wait till you try this. And that's what I've seen people open up a lot more. Is there any food that you haven't tried but heard of? A million things. I haven't. It would take me 1,000 lifetimes to scratch the surface of the complexities of Indian cuisine. And that's just the reality. Um, it's so amazing. And you guys have so much to be proud of. Really. Like, you have so much to be proud of. Not just food, but every culture has things that they're proud of and they're not proud of. As a Westerner, I have those as well. But your sense of love, your sense of Aditi Devo Bhava, right? Like things like that. Like, those things mean so much. And I wish the West would adopt more things like that. Sorry if my enunciation is off too. I'm trying. Let's see. Only 1% Indian food is totally agree. There's so many snacks, chaats, little regional dishes that the West doesn't even know of. Oh, you know what I eat a lot of? Like, that I love? Chakri. Like, I love chakri so much, and I'm like, this is a perfect snack. Once the West understands this, they would of course embrace that. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The question is, something tells me you might not leave India once you come here. There's a lot of people that I can't wait to see, that I'm so excited to see. And I hope to meet some of you guys as well. So much I can learn from you, and like, what you see is what you get. This is who I am as a person. So in real life, this is how I act as well. Hey Keith, love what you're doing. Omkar, thank you, my friend. How long does it take for you to research? So a lot of this is stuff that I've been doing for years, and I have notes. There's incredible classes online. Kurush Dalal offers them. Ragini Kashyap offers them. There's so many people who are doing great things, like Mythopedia. They'll have these classes. One of the first ones I took was called Food and Politics, and they're online classes, and I would take research from those and help kind of digest that. So it takes me probably about 4 hours from start to finish on videos at this point. However, some videos are longer. Some videos are shorter. The video that probably brought you here was, my finding my journey. That one took me 20 minutes because I didn't have a script. I sat down, I slowed down, and I talked. So those aren't long, but some of them are hard. Some of them take a ton of time because research takes time. You have to cross-reference as well. And I'll probably look back on these in years, and we may find that some of them need updating. I hope they do. When I came to my city was blown away. Yeah. Oh, there's so many good questions. What are your views about any dish called authentic? Is there anything authentic, as someone must have made it? Great question, Raul. Authenticity is subjective. There are certain sabjis that are from India. There are certain sabjis that aren't from India. That's okay. What we try to do, and what I've been pushing on this channel, the narrative needs to be that authenticity is more, it isn't about the origin. Authenticity is about who takes that cuisine and puts their soul into that cuisine, who puts that effort into that cuisine. America doesn't have a cultural identity when it comes to food. We don't really have anything that's ours. Apart from some of the barbecue scene and some of the food in the South of America, there's some things there, but you could even document that from being very much a West African influence. So identity in food isn't about who made it. It's about who took that food and made it a part of their cultural heritage. And in America, now the barbecue scene in the South has become that for the most part. I'd like to see one food in your video if you can love it or hate it, but can't ignore it. Never found in restaurants. Yeah, I can definitely do that. So we're definitely going to do some food videos. We talked about that. Not a question. But understand the purpose of this channel is to create a community in which we can learn about the cuisine from the subcontinent and we can experience stories together. in the pickle video, in the achar video, I started talking about that a lot. Where I want to get you guys involved more to share your stories, because your voice matters just as much as mine. So that's why I try to stay in communication with you guys all the time. If you had a name like mine, or somebody represents cuisine of a culture, what would you do? I would cook. Like, I think that, cooking helps us tell a story, and your name tells a story, right? Kind of breaking apart, what I kind of view your name as, and it's a beautiful name, by the way. Sharing cuisine and culture matters so much. It's a beautiful thing, and so I encourage you all to do that. Thank you for the good wishes there. The passion you have and the love for is inspiring. It's one of the reasons I like watching your videos. Thank you, HG. I appreciate that very much. And it's really authentic. It's who I am, and it's what I love very much. What do I think of Indian tea? What is Indian tea? Because there's a lot of Indian teas. Are we saying cutting chai from Bombay? Are we saying haldi doodh, which I wouldn't consider Indian tea? Are we saying Sulaimani Chai? I think that there's such a beautiful culture of chai across the subcontinent that it's something that needs to be explored more, and it's something that needs to be honored more, which is why at my little events, we always serve some version of chai. In this next one, we're going to finish with Sulaimani Chai, because it's something that I drink quite a bit. Irani chai from Hyderabad. Yes. Irani chai, like the Irani cafes, like that whole concept is so beautiful. Irani chai is truly, truly one of the nicest things in the world. And yes, I'm so jealous, because I wish that was something the West had more of. Sally, namaskar. Thank you guys so much for all these questions. I think the most important thing that I wanted to do today is just to connect with you guys. Thank you so much for all the support. Never in a million years did I really think I was going to break 5,000 people. That's crazy. Really, I think I put out that first video, and I kind of thought about YouTube as a legacy, right? Someday I won't be here anymore. And I hope that the words that I put out here live on and inspire other generations. Because at the end of the day, legacy, it matters more than currency. And so hopefully together we can build a project that has legacy. Hopefully we can build a community that learns that food is about the sincerest act of love. And so I hope that you guys get that from this channel. And you guys are awesome. I'd love to do this again. If this is something that you guys like, let me know, and please keep sharing. Let's grow this community together, because this is our community. It's not just mine. Thank you guys. Without getting emotional, thank you guys so much for this, and we'll be back together soon. I'd love to do more of this. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon. See you guys.